Welcome, welcome, parish orphans, COVID-19 and riot shut-ins and retrogrades. Timothy Gordon here with my wife, Stephanie. We are checking in with you from war-torn Bakersfield, California, where we have in front of us the Bakersfield Californian paper.
Right here.
Yeah, right there.
Side.
And we are, doing a little report, a check-in report, family stuff from our hometown, where we are feeling anyway run out of town after the recent news of my firing, theology department chairman at the one and only Catholic high school in town. Lots of support from lots of good guys in town, but lots of bad press from crappy hometown rags like the Bakersfield, California. And so, we thought we'd do a little check-in, and more important than a check-in, come to you with an important announcement for the upcoming school year. Now that my time is freed up, but I thought it would be good for you to hear this crazy lady's point of view on what had happened, because we're a family, and our family is dealing with my firing, very public firing, nationally and locally, in a human way, with a daughter that's still on the couch in the other room recovering from hemispherectomy brain surgery. So I thought I'd bring you, give the people what they want. They all wanted to hear from Stephanie Gordon. What's up, Steph? What do you think about this?
I'm doing great. A lot of people have been asking Tim, like a lot of friends have been contacting him, and they're like, yeah, we know you're doing really well with the firing, but how's the wife doing? And, that's been a constant question that he's been fielding. But honestly, I'm doing fantastic. I'm really proud of Tim. I couldn't be more proud of him. So when this all happened, originally it was kind of like, okay, this is our new normal. Now we have to figure out what we're going to do. But the support has just been amazing, and people have been so great to us. So we've just been so thankful. It's a little weird to be in kind of a Bakersfield. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Bakersfield, but it's kind of a big, small town. So it's big enough where there's a large population, but it's small enough where everyone kind of knows your business. And so it's funny because we'll even be like on walks with the family. We've been trying to do daily walks, ever since Abby's been out of the hospital. And a couple of times we've run into people we haven't seen in a while, like on our walks. They're all just out. I guess they're out of their COVID shut-in, so they're on a walk as well. And we'll run into these people, and you could tell like some of them are just like, hey, like just kind of scurrying past us, not really wanting to say hello, because I guess they've bought into the lie that Tim's this horrible racist monster.
So ridiculous. If they would have read the book, Rules for Retrogrades, they would have known otherwise. But yeah, these are real stories. Running into old neighbors we haven't seen in a while, and they're clearly buying the false narrative. The point is,
and for us, it's funny because we'll see these people and we'll recognize them. And for us, we're not even really thinking, honestly, about the firing too much. So we'll be like, oh, hi, how are you? We haven't seen you in forever. And I could just tell immediately on the look on their face. One time the person that we ran into was with somebody else. So there was two. And I could tell the person that we had known, they were kind of like, ooh, I don't want to be like, say hi too much to Tim, because they had another friend with them. Like, I don't want them to think I'm a racist or whatever it might be. So they just kind of scurried off, and all of the kids were just like, what's happening? So it's been funny. Many of you have known we've been wanting to get out of California in general. We're not really happy here. We're not really Californians, in a lot of respects. So we were looking for a way out of California, and this basically has just given us the push we need to get out of this godforsaken state.
True. Yeah, this has been the hand of Providence in it. People have been particularly generous, making donations on timothyjgordon.com, because they know it sounds like a sob story, like a Bronson film or something, except with a decently happy ending. We've got Abby, 20 feet away, still recuperating on the couch. I mean, she can go out and be pushed around on walks, but it's a real thing. The school fired me less than 2 months after knowing and praying, I guess, daily for her. It was a very public thing for Garces Memorial High School that a teacher had a kid going through a brain surgery, as you can imagine. So the timing is so conspicuous as to be worthy of us retelling it at least one more time here. we appreciate the support. It's been tremendously
The
helpful.
emails,
We're getting out of town.
texts, we've been reading everything. We've gotten so many, but we've been trying to make a real effort to read everything. I'm trying to make my way through and respond to everybody. So thank you so much for all the, people have been offering us, like physical therapists in different states have been like writing us messages. Oh, I can work with you online. I mean, it's just been wonderful. I mean, people have just been really, really supportive to us, and we've just been so thankful. Going through the brain surgery not too long ago, and then this happening, and we're having to shop for health insurance. Some of these things are a bit new for us, so we've kind of been thrown in a little bit of a tailspin here because the school who claim that we're part of their family, I guess you could just throw your family into the street or whatever if they become inconvenient to you or whatever.
It's a no-fault divorce world, I suppose.
But I am so proud of Tim. Like, I'm going to say that again. I am so proud of Tim. So I am, like, a lot of people were like, oh, is the wife upset? I was not upset. When I first found out what I immediately was just proud of Tim. So I was just like, you know what? Whatever they want to do, they can do. But Tim said the right thing. I was proud of what he said. As a matter of fact, I'm the one that made that BLM is a terrorist organization, like, screen grab. I created that. So very proud of Tim.
Yeah. And
Gotta stand up to these bullies.
I was sitting in this chair when the bullies emailed, or I guess people that were capitulating to the bullies at the diocese emailed, and I was, doing an interview with Henry Davis when you walked right in that door and gave me the cut.
Yeah, I just
symbol.
went.
So, it's a real thing, and it develops, and we've done some national press, and most of it's been good, whereas the local press has been bad. And
well, that's the funny thing. I think that the school originally was, like, worried about, like, the local press. They had no idea that it was going to be... The local press is, like, insular, and then there was going to be this outside force of, like, national press that was going to be like, what happened to you?
Yeah.
Why did this happen? So...
Yeah. No, definitely. It is a strong dichotomy between local and national. But, thank you for all your support. What we wanted to do today, Steph and I, is come before you and make actually an exciting offer. It's an old idea that I've had for at least a year or two, at least 18 months, I would say. It's I think, the way of the future. As people that have been advocates for homeschoolers, Steph's appeared on Church Militant, and I've done several videos saying this is really the future of Catholic American education, because the diocesan model is so irrecognizably corrupted.
You can't teach the faith. Like, Tim, one of the things that he was accused of in the petition that went viral here in town was that he was being homophobic, anti-Islam. Basically, he was just teaching the faith, and they were saying that he was spreading hate speech. It's so idiotic.
Yeah, that's right, Stevie. Because the faith is now clearly so irrecognizably corrupted, there needs to be a new option. And most, as Steph's said on with Church Militant, and I've said on videos, Rules for Retrogrades videos, there needs to be an option for homeschoolers, many of whom would be homeschoolers anyway, are scared to begin. And Steph and I have just tried to encourage you to begin. We have a proposal for you. What I can do is roll out this plan. We have 2 classes ready to go. For smart middle schoolers, 7th or 8th graders, high schoolers, or even adult students, I have 2 very complete, very discrete philosophy theology courses. One's a church history course. The other one is an Aristotle and philosophy of man double semester course that can be used really for anyone aged 13 or older, late middle school. And we will supply quizzes, tests, the curriculum. It'll be a weekly course meeting. Steph and I put this together actually a long time ago, and have Zoom meetings. We're trying to enroll the first 100 students in this new set of 2 courses for the fall, the upcoming fall. Let me just say, I'm not trying to brag, but when I taught at Garces, so many students were excited about what they were learning in church history, things they'd never heard, and in Aristotle especially, and philosophy of man, that they brought this home to the dinner table discussion, and their parents, who are mostly badly formed by their own admission from 70s, 80s, 90s Catholic education, they're having dinner table discussions, and they are truly groundbreaking stuff. The truths of the faith that are real gold nuggets that Garza's asked me to start teaching the parents. Because again, lots of conservatives in the area that were excited to hear that Thomas Aquinas is essentially the greatest cultural and political conservative in mankind's treasure trove. So I was teaching courses on Aquinas, courses on Fatima, and even some of the church history stuff. We want to bring this to you in whatever form you want it in, whether for a middle schooler, high schooler, or college student.
Yeah, so for, as the homeschooler in the family, there's certain areas that I've noticed that I needed some help with along the way. So this would be a really good option for people who maybe really want like a really strong church history class. But, they're also just learning it themselves, like I am. So it'll be nice to just be able to sit there as a family and learn together. And this is one of the things I said on the Church Militant interview that, I think really resonated with a lot of people, was just that homeschoolers find that when they're actually sitting there with their kids, they're learning as well. I'm learning a lot of the things that my children are, when we're going through some of these texts and, some of the things with the church. I'm actually learning things alongside our kids. So it's a nice thing to do as a family.
Yeah, and remember that's really important. The most crucial area of teaching for a homeschooler that people wonder and worry if they will fumble is teaching the theology classes. Anyone can, it's incredibly easy, right, to teach math, even if you're not good at math. It's incredibly easy if you have a good guidebook to teach, grammar, literature. Parents enjoy teaching that, history, whatever. The toughest area that people really understand is the highest stakes poker, is teaching theology. This is where we can help you for a year-long figure, right? A year-long period of time. We're starting out with just these two year-long courses. You can really take them in either order. We would suggest taking the church history course first. We typically give that to high school juniors, but you can give it to smart homeschooling kids in 8th grade or even 7th grade. And then after that, a fall semester Aristotle's Ethics course, groundbreaking, probably the most important course any of my students that I've taught have taken in high school. And then a spring semester course the next year on the philosophy of man. It's truly family educating, family reforming stuff. And all you do is homeschool like normal, any of you homeschoolers out there, and leave the theology, at least in these 2 years, to me. You can kind of do whatever you want to do anyway, which you're always talking about.
And the
Steph.
great thing, too, about this as well is that I know a lot of you, even who have your kids in Catholic schools, you could add this in because you can hear and see what's being taught. And that's one of the things that for me, when we were first parents and we're figuring out, what are we going to do? Are we going to do public school or homeschool? One of the things I didn't like about the public school system or even the private school system is that I don't know what's being told to my child. And theology, when you're being your child or whoever is being taught theology, you want to make sure that they're being taught proper church teaching and not watered down Church of Nice nonsense, but real church teaching. And in this system, you can sit there and hear and see what's actually being taught.
That's a great point. Yeah, we hadn't even discussed that before rolling tape here. It's not a bad idea because it's once a week we're talking about meeting for 45 minutes. Then I assigned readings.
And it'll be live.
A couple readings. Yeah, I'll be live. You can interact, ask me questions. And, short readings per week. It'll be kind of a 7/8 of a school year length, And literally, it's a good thing for the family to do together. Even if you have, this is what Steph just said that I hadn't even thought of yet. Even if you have a Catholic school middle school kid or a Catholic school high school aged kid, you can do this as a family. It's a great way to have family togetherness in the faith, family faith formation. And it's kind of like control and experiment. You can compare this to what they're being taught in their Catholic education theology department. And unless you are one of the few people that sends your kids to something called a Catholic Tradition Academy, if you're at a diocesan school, they're probably not learning this stuff. So yeah, we're not saying anyone in order to take this, you have to pull your kid out of the Catholic school. You can just do this on top, and it's once a week. So yeah, this literally means that the people we're pitching to are homeschoolers, public schoolers. Maybe you homeschooled or private schooled until 8th grade, and then public school for high school. A lot of kids do that. We'll supply the religion classes. Adults, or even, yeah, as Steph just said, Catholic educated kids that you want to sort of belt and suspenders approach to theology. Make sure that they're getting at least one good theology lesson. Not to mention, it provides a backdrop against which you might measure the theology teachings of your kid at Catholic school. It's a real deal. Yeah. Right. I mean,
we're really excited about this. This is something that we've considered doing for quite some time, but with Tim working full time at the school and then also doing the podcasting, there really wasn't much time for this or developing the idea. And so now we find ourselves in a unique position where he has a little bit more time to figure this out. So, teaching has always been a passion of Tim's, and this is just a way to continue that, in a more pure sense.
Yeah, it is a purer sense, because we're cutting out any, not that I did a lot of self-censorship in the classroom. I was always giving kids the uncut faith when I taught at Garces, and they, until recently, really stood mostly out of the way. But this will be even purer, because it'll all be my own boss. I just spoke to Steve Skojec of 1 Peter 5 today about this on his podcast. It's like, yeah, now it feels like being freed up to do what I was doing even better, and to do it to I guess in a certain sense, a purer audience, right? Because it's people that really want it. There are a lot of good students, and I'm friends with a lot of families of students that I've taught, and they just say, you were so influential, not only on my kid, but on the fam as well, because they would teach us, and some of them came to our classes. For adults,
We've gotten so many letters from Garces, like alumni and current students and their parents, just saying exactly this, just what he's saying.
Yeah, so it's a way to move forward, and if being a real Catholic teacher, bringing the authentic faith, is radioactive, and I add a little bit of radioactivity with rhetorical flourish on the side. If that means that really a diocesan job is a closed way for me, then this is a way to continue teaching, which I don't just like podcasting. I was thinking about that. Okay, we'll probably move to do the Rules for Retrogrades podcast, publish books full time. But I really care about forming people when they're young, at least middle school or high school. It makes a big difference. It is the difference in many cases between having a morally regrettable college experience when the students do leave home and not. And I have lots of students that would testify to as much.
Oh, they write them all the time in college. We get texts, emails, DMs on Twitter all the time from ex-students like, hey, my professor said this, what do you say? I mean, Tim's just constantly interacting with, old past students. It's really remarkable.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, really, when push comes to shove, it's what Steve Skojec said to me today. It's like, this is the way of going forward, to podcast for him, or for me podcasting and still teaching via the virtual classroom because of COVID-19. Now Zoom is a real thing. And it's not just like, oh, we'll take this YouTube session where you can't interact with the teacher. That's still a little daunting, I think, for a lot of the homeschool moms you've interacted with, right, Steph?
Yeah.
To just have like the learning module of a pre-recorded lesson.
You want to interact. If you have a question, you want to say, hey, I have a question. Yeah. Hey, can you clarify this? You want to be able to interact with your teacher.
Right. Then it really becomes a virtual classroom. So, I mean, it's not perfect for unmotivated students, as I learned this spring when I was doing it with some of my less motivated students, but it still works with motivated parents and families. I think it's a real way forward. And what we're hoping to do, kind of parting shot here, is to tempt, by covering the heaviest part of the load, by covering the heaviest part of the burden, the theology load, for maybe a family at homeschooled till 8th grade would keep doing it, but doesn't feel equipped to teach the theology at high school level, or just people in general that have flirted with the idea of being a homeschooling family, but, you know, always shied away because it feels like quite an onus. Like, hey, I'll take the heaviest part of the burden. And these are real classes. You know me if you're watching this. You probably trust me to some extent if you're watching this. And now I have the time. And I guarantee top quality theology, philosophy that is, you know, it's really costing pennies on the dollar when we get this full business model up compared against what they're going to get from it and the advantage it'll give them, not only morally, which is the most important thing, but also just at a more crass level, that they're a more competitive college student if they do end up going to a good secular school or one of the Cardinal Newman schools. It's just going to be impressive. Most of my students write that they're like, no one else, my freshman or sophomore year of college, knew Aristotle. And your students and your whole family, if you take this together, will know Aristotelian ethics, the real backbone of Catholic moral teaching. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I am too. So I know a lot of you are probably wondering, okay, how much is this going to cost? And, you know, how many students? We're still working out some of those details. So right now, if you're interested, please just comment below the video and just say, hey, you know, we're interested in this. I think roughly we're going to offer a definite discount to our patrons that have been with us already. And we're trying to keep this reasonable for homeschooling families because we know costs, you know, are prohibitive. You know, we've been there ourselves. So we want to make this doable for everybody as well. And we'll announce that, I think, soon, you know, exactly how much we think it's going to cost per year.
Yeah, it'll be something on the order of, you know, a few $100s. And we're going to work it out and really try to work it for you. Because what we want is the homeschooling. I mean, we want to popularize, universalize homeschooling. There was just a big meeting last month at Harvard where they're trying to make it illegal. Harvard professors, they know it's a threat. Taking back, because again, my big game isn't just young people, it's all people. I want to take back the culture. That's what Rules for Retrogrades is all about. And you take back the culture when education tightens up and it becomes true classical Catholic education, which is why you teach Aristotle, even to younger people than college people. And B, you get families spending more time together. Families spending more meaningful time together, which is what you do when you homeschool. And this is a nice model because it's kind of the mixed school model, which a lot of people favor. 2-day-a-week homeschooling, we know a lot of people that like that. This is kind of like that.
And the flexibility is a big deal too for a homeschooler for me. So like when Tim's saying like he'll offer like the quizzes and stuff per week for the classes, that's up to you if you want to administer that. So if you want to just do the class and just learn and not to worry about quizzes or just have your kids learn that, that's up to you as a homeschooler, whether you want to administer those tests or if you just want them to sit there and learn and you can discuss these things afterwards as a family or how you want to run it. Right. My big thing for homeschool, like I've said on Church Militant, is that flexibility was one of the main things that we loved about it. Just being able to do what works for our family.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, so I'll email you quizzes with an answer sheet if you want to give those to your kid and you want to take a more hands-off approach. I mean, literally, I'll give the lectures, reading assignments, meet once a week. You know, you can just say, hey, I always give short reading assignments. That's very important, I say, to classical education is short reading assignments. So that students are responsible for really digesting as much of it as possible in combination with the lecture. You guys are seeing more the teacher Gordon, not the bomb-throwing Catholic Gordon. This is important stuff. And so not huge reading assignments per week. It's about a 7/8 of a school year length course, both of these courses. And I'll tell you exactly what to read, when to read it, and I will give you parents, I can email to your email addresses, the quizzes. I do essay tests. I can give you the essay tests too. And rubrics for the answers for both quizzes and tests. And you can hold those. And if you want to take a hands-off approach, you can, without even learning any of this, church history, Aristotle, philosophy of man. If you're not interested, just keep it in a locked cabin or a locked cabinet or cabin.
Or a cabin. That works.
If you have a locked cabin, you can lock it there if it's close to your home. Just keep it away. And you can basically just be the gatekeeper. But what I think is ideal is really, you know, one or both parents taking this course with the students. Because honestly, all of the good Catholics that I taught were getting their parents into it, or 90% of them. And since pretty much I'm only speaking to good Catholics, I think that's the target audience. It conduces to good conversation instead of just boring get through dinner. Real conversation. Backbone of Western civilization, backbone of the one true faith conversation. And everyone's learning, and it's going to be for something like, $400 a year for a class. And you don't have to worry as the homeschooling parent about theology, the most important, the queen of the sciences. So that's it. That's the idea. If we get good feedback on this, then we're gonna move.
We're gonna get it going. We're thinking Zoom right now. For those of you who may not be familiar with Zoom, it's just online and it's really simple. We'll just send out a link before class time starts. You just click the link, join the class, and they can interact and see Tim live. So that's what we're thinking right now. But right now we're just trying to get get an idea for the interest and who would like to be a part of this. So if you are interested, just please comment below that you like to do this. And again, I don't think we're going to do individual cost per individual students, because we really are very serious about this being like a family thing. So I think it would just be cost per family. So if you have 20 kids, you guys could all just sit there and watch it together.
Yeah. There's no way to even keep track.
Yeah.
Even if we could quantify that and wanted to, there's no way to know. So so just pay by the course per family, and if you have a 8th grader and a 10th grader, then you could do 2 courses or whatever.
And the book too, I think for the church history book, it's I think Scott Hahn wrote it.
No.
I'm sorry, maybe not. But the book is really inexpensive. I think it was $7 or something. So it's a full class. It's already like
I think Scott Hahn wrote. No,
he didn't.
Not at all. But he it's $7 and like $7 or $8 online. It's a great book that you can get used on Amazon.com. And of course, in the philosophy course, you can just pick up a copy of Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, arguably the most important book in the history of philosophy, for $10 on Penguin's Classics or something like that. And for the spring part of that second class's semester, I think I might put together a little binder of papers or something, and you don't even have to buy it. We'll work these details out as we go, because that's more like we're going to read a little Augustine, little Boethius, little Benedict XVI, a lot of Aristotle and Thomas Aquinas on what is a human being truly, where is the human identity truly. Obviously, the big answer is in Christ. But the books are negligible, under $10.
Yeah, we're trying to keep things really
semester.
Reasonable, because we've been there. So we'll just get an idea for who's interested right now, and again, we'll have everything up on Tim's site, timothyjgordon.com. We're going to get a tab there eventually with just the structure, what will be taught, and how we'll go about it. So we're going to get that up and going here soon as we get an idea who would like to participate in this.
Yeah. So this is a go forward basis, onward and upward. Fired for doing the right thing gives me a little street credentials, but we're going to be moving forward with books, the podcast, and now it looks like retrograde education as well. So thanks for dialing in today. And if you can, and if you're interested, take a little, 10-minute sidebar and write us to tell us what you think about this. We're looking to enroll the first 100 students for late August, early September. Let us know. God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless America. Thank you all. And another Steph video in the books. People say these are the best ones. Yeah.